He's not running the country. And that's the reason why Kamala Harris was selected, because she can't run the country either. And we know this now. You notice the administration hasn't missed a beat. They just keep going. They're doing what they're doing. He doesn't know. He's not making the decisions. The question is, who is? Who is? If the president of the United States is having seepy-seeps, starting at, waking up at 11 o'clock in the morning, having a meeting, and then going to bed at 4, who's running the country? My gosh.
Yeah, and Glenn, you should point out those preparations, which took place over 6 days for the debate, never started before 11 a.m., and Mr. Biden was given a time for an afternoon nap each day. This is according to the New York Times. The only example they could come up with when they were pressed for examples where he's really, really on top of things was him screwing over Israel, which is when they were in the middle of all these missiles being fired at them. He was on his game to tell Netanyahu, no, you're not allowed to fire back. That's the only thing they could come up with. Now, of course, we have no evidence that that's true, but the fact that he was inspired to be awake by screwing Jews over isn't necessarily something that gives me more confidence.
Jake Tapper, did you hear Jake Tapper yesterday? Jake Tapper accused the Democratic Party of engaging in Orwellian tactics. The opening of the show, Tapper called out the Democratic Party for engaging in a discernible pattern of lying to the public. He argued party officials want Americans to not believe what you saw and what you heard with your eyes and your own ears last Thursday night. He said, quote, the party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command, end quote. You know where that comes from? George Orwell's 1984. So, and that is true. But it's not just on this. America needs to wake up. It's not just on this. Listen to this story from space.com. Boeing Starliner capsule is performing well on its first ever astronaut mission. In fact, it will likely be able to stay in orbit beyond the initially envisioned 45-day limit. Now, wait a minute. It's performing so well that it's going to stay up there, for a while, and maybe up there for a long while. And we might leave it up there, and then we'll return those astronauts home on some other vehicle that is not as good as the Boeing Starliner. The Starliner, they still haven't figured out why the jets weren't working, why the positioning jets around the side, like 28 of them, just didn't work. They can't figure out why. Plus, it was leaking helium. I don't know if they were having birthday parties up there or why they had helium, but it was leaking helium. And now they're trying to convince us that no. It is so good, it can stay longer than the 45 days. Yeah, that's right. Probably because the astronauts are like, I'm not getting into that death trap. I'm not getting back into that thing. But deny what you know. Deny what your eyes tell you. Deny what your ears tell you. Deny what you know. That is the problem. Now, Biden said he fell asleep on the stage. He fell asleep on the... When did you fall asleep on the stage? And so now they're going to fix it because yesterday, apparently, Hunter Biden is joining Joe Biden for all of his meetings now. Hunter Biden.
The crack addict?
Well, I mean, that the only explanation for that is, hey, Dad, do you need a bump? I can, you need to wake up? Yeah, I got something here for you. That's the only explanation. The people in the meetings are saying, we're confused. We didn't have any idea why Hunter Biden is now in the meetings and taking notes and discussing things and, taking the lead for Dad. What what?
I don't know. I don't think, look, there's a lot on the line here, and I don't know that I would recommend this course of action, but he's got this interview coming up with Stephanopoulos. Do you consider a bump before it? Do you give it a whirl? I mean, we know regular Joe Biden doesn't work. What if, what could possibly go wrong? I don't think it could be worse than Thursday night. I think maybe you give the guy a little bit of juice and see what happens. I mean, it might be a fun story.
An unnamed source from the White House said Hunter Biden popped into a couple of meetings and phone calls with the president that he had with some of his advisors. Another person familiar with the matter said the reaction from some senior White House staff members has been, what the hell is happening? Yes, now you know how the rest of us feel. What the hell is happening? Hunter came back with the president from the family weekend at Camp David and went with the president straight into a speech prep. Hunter's presence in and around his father's meeting comes amid questions about whether Joe Biden should continue his election campaign. Good Lord, what is happening? 25 House Democrats are preparing to ask Biden to withdraw now.
Jeez. Can't let you gotta stop this bleeding somehow if you're Biden, right? You have to figure out a way to shut these people up, get them through the next couple of weeks. Let me at least get to this Friday interview. You'll see how good it's going to be. You got to just delay if you're Biden right now. And I don't even know if he can do it. I mean, the momentum seems to make it impossible right now.
He's toast. He's toast.
Let me ask you
this. If he fails this Friday George Stephanopoulos interview, if he screws up at all, if he zones out, if he can't express himself, if he doesn't look vital and invigorated, he's done. He's done.
And we're going to learn so much about this because, I mean, you look, the New York Times is all in on him being gone. Every single story is not only like all these people are saying behind the scenes he's terrible. He can't speak. He can't get through meetings. Here's another anecdote. Here's another unnamed official. Here's over and over and over again. And then how can he be replaced? How would this work? Every story is about this, Glenn. And I've never seen anything like it because we all know what the New York Times could do and normally does in this situation. Lie.
Oh, yeah.
They don't report these anecdotes. They don't tell you what these people are saying behind the scenes. They form the opinion they want you to have. And that is what they're doing again here. And Stephanopoulos' approach in this interview is going to be fascinating to watch because obviously he can help take him out. If he presses him, if he goes after him, if he really makes this as uncomfortable as possible, he could end the campaign. Or will he do the old school thing, which they've been doing for as long as I've known every Democratic media member, and just like soft pedal it, when he has a bad moment, step in, cut him off, help him. What do you think happens?
The press is being used by somebody. I don't know who is in charge of anything anymore. But the press now is spreading the narrative that it's over. He's got to go.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to go. So we'll see. Does the press get their way? And when did they decide? They didn't. They decided that he was fine up until last Thursday, and that all of us were liars and misinforming and using disinformation and Russia to mislead the nation and thinking he was incompetent. Then he went from he's Superman to good heavens, we got to get him out of there overnight.
Yeah.
And now they're rushing and saying he's got to go. He's got to go. He's got to go. I would like to know what the plan is. I mean, we're talking about all of our future here. What is your plan? They're now talking about maybe we do a mini primary. And we kind of do it like speed dating.
Yeah.
What? Let's not speed date for the leader of the free world. Speed date.
It's interesting. I mean, it does to me feel like the Kamala thing is the most likely thing. I mean, there's a lot of intricate logistical reasons for that, mostly revolving around money that make that so. But still, it's like, if they try to go down this road and turn this into some big spectacle, I don't think that's necessarily going to help them. And you see a lot of these people who are leaking against Biden are saying wonderful things about Kamala. Now, some might speculate, as we have said since the very beginning, there's no way this 4-year presidency ends without Kamala Harris taking a shot at winning this. She is the most ambitious, selfish person in Washington, D.C., And I guarantee right now, her people are all leaking against Biden to make this thing happen.
Of course they are. Of course they are. And you know what's weird is so far there's not a big push for her. Only Clyburn is really jumping on the Kamala train. Yeah. Everybody else is kind of quiet about it. Yeah, that's enormous. He's the guy who got Biden to pick her.
Yep, and he's the guy who got Biden elected. I mean, remember, Biden was losing in South Carolina. That endorsement is what turned around the primary in 2020. So that is a huge part of this. So let me ask you this, Glenn, and maybe you can answer this after the break, but you are going on vacation next week. Mm-hmm. When you come back, is Joe Biden the Democratic nominee?
Is he? It's 10 days from now. Okay, if he holds his own on Friday's George Stephanopoulos, if he's okay, and he doesn't make any critical errors, and he doesn't look bad, he's still the nominee.
That's a big question.
I know. If he does poorly, it's over.
This interview, you think, is the entire ball game, at least for the moment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and they might turn to, Dr. Hunter. Seriously. I mean, if you have this and you're Joe Biden, I mean, you don't try a little cocaine, it's the end. It's the end. It's the end.
I like this. It's possible he might just try. Look, they've already found it in the White House. I don't know why everyone assumed it was Hunter's. My understanding was Hunter was more of a crack guy. It's a different form of what they found in the White House. Maybe Joe is taking the other path. I don't know. But I think you're right, though. This was his attempt to say, let me put something on the board. You're going to see me in real time. You're going to see how I perform and judge me by that. There are 100 reports today that I read this morning, Glenn, from insider tip sheets and all these other things of people saying Friday is too late. It's Wednesday. They're saying Friday is too late.
And you have a holiday. Late. And tomorrow is a holiday.
When was he supposed to do the interview, right? I guess he could have done it on Monday or Tuesday. But they're saying yesterday that, we know the Stephanopoulos thing is coming. That's too late. This is how committed they are to this.
Yeah, and I just don't, I'm on with Piers Morgan today, and I know he's going to argue with me on Ukraine, like, oh, God, shut up, man. And he's going to call me a Putin apologist and everything else, because if you disagree with him on Ukraine, you're a Putin apologist. And I was thinking about my approach with this, and I think I'm just going to say, first of all, we're never going to agree. So why are you doing this? Why? But the second thing is, Piers, you've never understood America. Never. You conflate American conservatives with, the far right in France, and they're completely different. And what you don't understand is that America has fundamentally changed. Conservatives have fundamentally changed. We don't trust the government. And this time we have a list of things to show us, no, I don't trust the government. So when it comes to Ukraine, when it comes to, who's president, who's running the country, I have no idea. And all possibilities are out on the table because we're seeing things that we've never seen before. I would just say it's time for people to take responsibility of their own actions and their own life right now, because I don't trust anyone in power.